So for the past couple of days, thousands of Oklahoma teachers have been marching at the state capitol, doing their walkout in order to try to fight for higher wages, not only higher wages, but more investment into the classroom. Now, these strikes, these walkouts, ended up shutting down schools all over the state. And what they've been asking for, as I said before, is more funding for schools and better pay, which right now are falling apart. I mean, look, you have students with textbooks that are all but destroyed. You have gigantic class sizes and teachers themselves that have been having to get by with 2 or 3 jobs. And some have even had to resort to donating plasma in order to make the rent. So that's disastrous. Look, teacher salary in Oklahoma is 49th in the country. It's really, really bad. And so, look, they looked at what West Virginia was doing, and they're like, you know what? West Virginia, they got what they needed for their education. Now it's time that we do it. Because Oklahoma has had enormous budget cuts. For example, over the last decade, over $100 million have been cut from education alone. And of course, both students and teachers, because there were students also at the Capitol yesterday, they want that restored, and they also want more. They basically want to double that. According to CBS News, however, look, they actually got some concessions from Republican Governor Mary Fallin. According to CBS, on Tuesday, the governor had signed a bill giving teacher support staff like teachers, aides, janitors a $1,250 raise. Last week, she signed a measure that gave teachers a $6,000 pay raise, but only added in about an additional $50 million in school funding. Now, teachers, as I said, were asking for much more in school funding. They wanted a tune of $200 million. So that basically eliminates the $100 million worth of cuts and then adds $100 million more so they can actually properly fund schools. And so now that they're demanding more, Governor Fallin and other legislators are getting rather annoyed. Fallin said, quote, "Teachers want more, but it's kind of like having a teenage kid that wants a better car." So, wait, you're comparing school funding to having a better car. Your car's good enough. You just want everything. You just want more and more. That's ridiculous. No, we're not going to give you more. You take your clunker and be happy with it. Well, okay. Let me show you why they need the money in Oklahoma so bad for those schools. All right. So those are the books that they have to deal with. They're not looking so good. Here's more books. And by the way, those desks, they've had to cannibalize other desks in order to repair some of their own desks, which are years and years old. All right. There are more books. Holes Essentials. It looks like those books may have a few holes in them. I got another picture here. We also have biology books that are outdated. These are dated to about 2004, 2005, according to some of the teachers. And this set has been updated since the Bush presidency. And you wonder why they're asking for more funding. But no. They're just teenagers that want a nice car. That's it. No, you know what we need? You know what we need to fix this? I mean, look, the strikes are great. The walkouts are fantastic, and they have been achieving things. But ultimately, what we need is we need the Finland model. Let me explain what that is. No private schools. They've completely banned private schools. Now, what does private schools have to do with this? Well, if you ban all private schools, guess what? Rich kids have to go to public school. You know what happens when rich kids go to public schools? Well, everybody gets a better education. Why? Because rich people will not let their kids get a substandard education. You think rich people would allow their kids to use books that look like this? No, absolutely not. And look, rich people have the means to be able to give their kids the kind of education that everybody deserves, right? And again, I believe that everybody deserves that kind of education. And unfortunately, most people don't have the means. And a lot of states have been cutting their education budget. So they get substandard schools and private schools. Make rich kids go to school with poor kids, because I guarantee that'll turn that shit right around. Immediately. Immediately. And we got to do it. We got to do the Finland model. Not only that, not only do rich kids obviously help to bring up the funding levels of the public schools that they have to go to, teachers are incredibly well paid and respected. Schools are fully funded, and they actually get results. This isn't just like, oh, we just want to pay teachers more because teachers are greedy. No, not at all. Teachers are actually not greedy at all. All they're asking for is to not have to work second and third jobs and to have to give blood in order to afford to do their job. Now, this has real-world results on education. Finland has top scores in education, and they do it without some of the constant competition that you see in Asian countries. Instead, what they have is they have a system that's built on cooperation and respect and, for the most part, education, right? There's so much that we can learn from other countries and how they do things, and how they do education, how they do healthcare, how they do taxation, things like that. But instead, our lawmakers, or the lawmakers in Oklahoma, all they want to do is just compare hardworking, underpaid teachers who are, yes, thankful for their raises. And they've done reports where a lot of these teachers are like, we thank you for what you've done for us already, but it's not enough. We need more to actually do our jobs right and to make sure, because this is the whole point of education, to make sure that the next generation is prepared to take over the United States and to continue leading us into the 21st century. That's the whole point, is to get them ready for the jobs of tomorrow and to get them ready to create jobs and to help them solve problems and be the next leaders of tomorrow. You can't do that when you have books that are falling apart, when you have desks that are falling apart, when you have schools that have no air conditioning and 110 degree weather. I mean, that's not the kind of, we're the richest country in the world. Why do we have schools that are falling apart? Why do we have books that are falling apart? It's because there are politicians that don't want to fund them. And you have wealthy private schools that are able to have their students have the best. And all we want to do is to make sure that everybody in a public school also has the best education, so it opens up the ladders of opportunity. That's all they want. Opportunity. And yet, as I said before, Fallin, you're just a teenager that wants a new car. Well, look, to be fair, a lot of our teenagers coming out today, with the exception of some of the ones that are snorting condoms. Don't do that, please. Don't do that. And they're a very smart minority. Most of our teenagers are actually pretty smart. I mean, just look at the parking kids, for example. So, I don't know, maybe these teachers might take this as a compliment, even though it most certainly was not meant that way. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.